1, 2, 3.
This is The Ticket High School Saturday.
Well done, well done, well done.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Let's go 3-0, and let's come sit down and drink some Gatorade.
Live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studio, here is your host, Nick Sainert.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Boy, oh boy, off to a great start there. I'm used to being at the 2 o'clock spot, so that's my bad. Good morning. Happy Saturday, folks. This is the High School Saturday Show, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert with you this morning after a eventful Friday night around the high school football landscape. Tons of semifinals action to get to. We'll get through all the classes, Class A, Class B, Class C1, C2, and then we'll even touch on some 6-man football with Potter Dix as well. As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Sutter Heyman text line. Both of those are open for you all hour long here on the High School Saturday Show, as well as the Sutter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. I see already a couple people hopping over there. And throw your comment up there. Anybody you want to touch about or talk about, anybody you want to touch on, if they had a big performance that you got to watch last night, make sure you send it in, and I will give them their proper shout-out, and we'll go from there. 402-464-5685. Before we get too far into talking about the high school landscape, the show is brought to you by Ambition Electric, providing quality and reliable electrical work for nearly 20 years. Contact Joe Davis for any of your electrical needs at 402-217-3415. So once again, 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline, Sutter Heyman text line, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, the Sutter Heyman Jewelers video stream. Hop over there, and we will be good to go. Before we get going here, I want to kind of talk about how the programming is going to go today, or this morning, I should say, because there's no Husker football game, obviously. So that's why we got pushed back to our normal time slot from 9 to 10. So we'll be on here from 9 to 10. And then we will stay live immediately after this hour as Kobe Webster and CJ Wilcher will be doing The Truth, their own show. I believe Cam Chick from Husker Baseball will stop by as well, and they'll break down everything that's going on in their world, whatever they want to talk about. They had a big win against Sam Houston last night, which for a while there, it didn't look like they were going to be able to squeak it out. But luckily for the Huskers and Husker fans, they were able to get the job done, improve to 1-1 on the year, and they hope to continue that next week against Creighton when they come to town on Tuesday. All right, let's get to some high school sports. Once again, 402-464-5685. Send in anybody that you want to shout out if they had a big performance last night, if your team advanced to the state championship next week. Shout them out. Honda of Lincoln hotline. Feel free to call in, give your thoughts. Anything you want to touch on, even if it's high school basketball. We will get to that here in the coming weeks. All right, let's go ahead and start Class A action. So Omaha North had to try to continue their Cinderella run at Gretna last night, which Gretna has kind of shocked some people in the postseason here. They had an interesting 12 versus 5 seed matchup right out of the gate against Lincoln East that I was able to go to. Happer called it. You guys were able to hear it here on the ticket. And Omaha North, like they said, they started the season 0-5 and found themselves in 16 seed of the postseason. They had to go on the road at Millard South to face Christian Nash, who is the running back for the Patriots going to Northern Illinois. And then they also had to go up against Gage Stanger of Millard South, who is a Nebraska commit. Used to be a Kansas State commit, now is a Nebraska commit. And they Omaha North got it done on the road, which was pretty exciting, pretty encouraging if you're a Vikings fan. Gretna on the other side, they showed a lot of things to Nebraska Preps fans in the first 2 weeks of the postseason. They were able to go out, score 50-plus points on Lincoln East. Granted, Lincoln East defense, we talked about, that's kind of going to be their bugaboo all season long. It's kind of been the weakest part of that Lincoln East squad all season long, is that it was just their defense. That was what was going to decide or determine whether or not they were going to be able to get far in the postseason. And that game, Gretna came out and was able to, with Zane Flores and Mick Huber at the helm running things, they were able to put up 50-plus points on a Spartans defense. And we said it that week, and when I talked to Luke Mullen, who will join us here at 9:30, when we talk about it, that's just not going to get it done. And so Gretna was able to put up 50-plus points that week, move on, played Elkhorn South the following week, and it was a tale of two different games, it felt like. It was like you were watching two entirely different teams in the Gretna Dragons. They, in week 2 in the quarterfinals, they win a dogfight, a 14-7 game over Elkhorn South, who had a pretty decent defense in their own. And Gretna showed that they have the ability to slow things down or play a slower style of game. And when their offense isn't working, then their defense can pick up the slack as well. That's what they showed us in that quarterfinal game. So if you're a Gretna Dragon fan, there's a lot to be encouraged about going into next week, because last night they played Omaha North. Once again, like I said, came in the 16 seed, beat Millard South, and then was able to top their quarterfinal matchup as well. Omaha North, North Platte was who they played in the quarterfinal last Friday. Omaha North, I mean. Zane Flores, we'll kind of break down this game a little bit. Zane Flores is kind of the player that everybody knows, the junior quarterback for Gretna, came in completing over 70% of his passes, has over 2,400 yards passing on the season, 24 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. So not a bad ratio there for the junior, who's already getting a little bit of lower Division I looks. One other Gretna player that folks are starting to hear about and notice is running back, like I mentioned, Mick Huber. He got the scoring started against Omaha North last night. The score was not out of reach at halftime. Omaha North only trailed 14-0, which was pretty encouraging. You're Omaha North, and to be fair, you don't know how long you'll be able to keep this Cinderella run going. Think about the way that Omaha North has kind of played through their first couple weeks of the postseason. 0-5, then they get 500 and come off an extremely emotional 1-point win over Millard South. Or excuse me, a win over Millard South, and then a 1-point win over the run-heavy attack of North Platte and Vince Genatone. And it's been an emotional postseason for Omaha North. And now you're going into Gretna that has shown the ability to play both styles and play it well, knocking off Lincoln East and Lincoln East and Elkhorn South. Lost it for a moment there. And you're only down by 14 at half. It's an entirely different feel if you're competitive at halftime compared to it being out of hand, which, I mean, you guys know that. Omaha North trailed by 14 at half. They caused a couple turnovers. One was they forced Zane Flores to throw his 6th interception on the year. However, in the second half, Gretna just showed to be the better team. They started to pull away. Zane Flores throws 2 touchdown passes in the second half to go along with his 2-yard rushing touchdown that he had in the first half. Mick Huber scored twice on the ground. Gretna wins this one 34-0, and Omaha North's exciting postseason run is finished. So that was one of the, going into the games last night, that was one of the less exciting games in terms of Class A action. The other one was kind of the one that everybody was talking about. And Jeremy, our big Bellevue West guy, helps us out every single week. I'll get to your rundown here in a moment. 402-464-5685. Luke Mullen, our good friend, was also out there, and so we'll talk to him about it here in about 20 minutes. But Bellevue West and Omaha West Side. This matchup was a 3-seed Bellevue West going up against the 2-seed Omaha West Side. Omaha West Side came into this one. It would have been 10-0 or 11-0, excuse me. Bellevue West coming in 10-1. Now, Bellevue West comes off of a 52-20 blowout win over Grand Island last week in the quarterfinals. Omaha West Side, a massive 42-3 win over Omaha Burke in the quarterfinals. This one was at Omaha West Side. Extremely cold temps across the state last night, which you don't need me to tell you about, but it was really, really cold. And you expect that when it's cold and windy like it was last night, it's going to be a heavy dose of running the football. We're going to talk about a lot of running backs that were really, really impressive last night on the football fields across the state. We have some in Class A. LJ Richardson, who I'll talk about in about 30 seconds here, is one of them. Bennington's running back, Dylan Mostek, extremely impressive. Aurora's running back, I have to find the name here. I can't remember. Carlos Colazo was extremely impressive. Actually, there was a couple single season records broken last night as well. There were single season records broken in Bennington, in Aurora. It was an exciting night last night for high school sports. But back to Bellevue West and Omaha West Side. Like I mentioned, extremely windy, extremely cold. And so going into the game, and I kind of talked about this on my show yesterday, you're expecting a heavy dose of LJ Richardson, the Wyoming football commit. The Wyoming commit came in with 194 carries on the year, 1,986 yards on the season, 14 yards shy of 2,000, and 33 rushing touchdowns. And here's the thing is, it's been consistent all season with LJ. He's gone over 100 yards in 10 of their 11 games. That's extremely impressive at the high school level, because you feel like, especially at the high school level, there may be a play that breaks down or so that, you know, they bust it for a big gain, but LJ's doing it time after time. Now, some of that could help that some of that could be attributed to having guys like Caden Helms and Micah Riley Ducker on the edge, who are going to Oklahoma and Auburn respectively. and that's definitely, and Davon Hall as well, who last night caught a tipped pass off of a West Side defender's hands to score a touchdown in the second half. But getting back to the game here, LJ Richardson gets Bellevue West going early. He scores a touchdown from 6 yards out. Bellevue West is up 7-0. Omaha West Side scores a field goal on their next possession, and then once again, T-Birds take over. LJ Richardson hands it off to him, and he scores another touchdown. Puts the Thunderbirds up 13-3 with 8 minutes left in the first half. So you're thinking, okay, Bellevue West going on the road, showing some life here, and is able to be up early on Omaha West Side, the 2 seed, 13-3. And if you're sitting there, I was following the game on Twitter last night, and I'm sitting there thinking, all right, Bellevue West, they have all that talent around them, and they're not showing any hesitancy to score the ball. They're having no problem going down and scoring the football. And so you're thinking, okay, maybe there's a little bit of an upset here. You feel like Bellevue West has, just with their names, you know more of their names than a lot of other schools. And that's probably because the high profile recruits. But you feel like, man, they not necessarily deserve or belong in the state championship, but there's a chance that they're going to knock off a number 2 seed in Omaha West Side. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago when Omaha North knocked off Millard South, but it was, man, the rest of the Class A field thrilled that Omaha North decided to show up and play at Millard South in the first week. However, it was kind of a tale of two halves. And that tells you all you need to know about Bellevue West and Omaha West Side. Omaha West Side, it would be a 20-10 ball game at the half. Bellevue West would score their third touchdown of the first half on an 82-yard pass from Johansson to Micah Riley Ducker. And then, like I said, 20-10 ball game at the half. The second half, all Omaha West Side. They outscored Bellevue West 24-6 in quarters 3 and 4. And your final score is 41-26. Omaha West Side comes storming back in the second half and tops Bellevue West in the semifinals, a game that everybody thought, and the scoreboard might not show it, and we'll get a better gauge on it when we talk to Luke here in about 10 minutes or so. But it was a game that going into it, it felt like one of those that could come down to the wire. Now, part of that is because the talent that's on both sides. Rezak's on for the three Rezak's on West Side. I believe they all scored last night. And like I mentioned, all the names that are on Bellevue West side, all those, it felt like one of those games that could be a classic. Now, it might not have that magnitude or that label, and rightfully so. However, what more could you want out of a semifinal game if you're going out there in freezing temperatures, blustering winds, and Omaha West Side comes back and outscores Bellevue West 24-6 in the second half to win 41-26? That's fantastic. They're going to face Gretna in the state championship. That game, I can tell you guys for sure, is going to be Tuesday, November 23rd at 7:15 at Memorial Stadium. So Gretna and Omaha West Side. We'll get a little bit of a preview here in a little bit. But if you would have, and I saw this tweet last night, if you would have pegged Gretna and Omaha West Side as the two teams, there was no way. There was no way. I honestly thought it was going to be Millard South and Bellevue West. I've seen Bellevue West. I'd seen Millard South. Millard South looked like a extremely complete team, extremely balanced. However, here we are. November 23rd, it's going to be Omaha West Side and Gretna. All right, let's move on to Class B here before we have to take our first break. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Both of those are still open. We'll get to all of your texts here in a couple minutes, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Check us out there, and we will be good to go. All right, let's move on to Class B action. Elkhorn and Bennington. This one, I mentioned last Saturday, a kid named Dylan Mostek. If you don't know anything about Dylan Mostek, you should pay attention. And why? He came into the game over, I want to get the exact stats right, so I want to look this up here. Here were his numbers heading into last night's game. This season alone, 271 carries, 2,621 yards, and 37 touchdown runs on the year. He's surpassed 100 yards in all of their games that they've played, all 11 going into last night. And I'll tell you right now that he surpassed 100 yards in the first half last night in their 12th game. Bennington would lead at halftime, 14-7. Senior running back Dylan Mostek, 16 carries, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first half alone, scoring from 34 and 25 yards out. Bennington had to face the defending state champ in Class B, Elkhorn, last night at home. This was a matchup that featured a number 1 seed and a number 4 seed. So Elkhorn was able to beat York in the first round and then beat number 5 seed Seward in the quarterfinals last Friday night to face Bennington this week. Bennington stomped all over Waverly last week, 41-0. Bennington would lead at halftime, 14-7. Mostek, right out of the gate in the second half, continues his dominance, scores it from 80 yards out on the first play from scrimmage in the second half, puts Bennington up 21-7, and the score would stay that way until the fourth quarter. Bennington scores another touchdown to extend their lead to 21, up 28-7. That touchdown was actually a passing touchdown. So Mostek, only 3 touchdowns last night from 34, 25, and 80 yards out. Once again, Bennington wins this one 28-7 over Elkhorn. It was tough for Elkhorn because in the fourth quarter, they're down 21-7 going into the fourth. And I mentioned that wind's a factor. Wind was most definitely a factor last night, wherever you were playing. And last night, at the start of the fourth quarter, Elkhorn had to head into the wind. So when they're down 14 and they're rushing attack, because Bennington's defense is nothing to scoff at. It's definitely special as well, and that's why Bennington is now 12-0. But Elkhorn had to go into the wind. They had to obviously throw the ball, being down 14 at one point, then 21 even farther down the road. They had to throw the football, and going into the crazy wind that there was last night, that's just a lot to ask of the Antlers offense. And so Bennington wins this one 28-7. First state title appearance since 1989. Obviously, give credit to Dylan Mostek, but also that defense held the Antlers to 7 points and shut them out in the second half as well. All right, real quickly here, let's touch on Omaha Skutt and Aurora before we get to Luke Mullen of Prep Extra at the Lincoln Journal-Star. Now, this one was interesting. This might have been the most exciting game of the night across all classes on Friday. And yes, that is including Westside's big comeback win, outscoring Bellevue West 24-6. Now, why? If you looked simply at the stat sheet, you would think that Aurora blew Omaha Skutt out of the building, out of the stadium. Aurora had 452 total yards compared to Omaha Skutt's 267. I mentioned that there were a lot of interesting and very impressive running back games last night. Aurora's junior running back Carlos Collazo carried the rock 33 times, 234 yards, and 2 touchdowns to bring his rushing touchdown total to 26 for the season, which is a new single season record for Aurora. Think about that. 234 yards on the ground for a junior running back when Omaha Skutt had 267 total yards. Very impressive from the junior Collazo. Wideout Kason Stayer had a big night for Aurora, 6 catches, 106 yards. At one point, the Omaha Skutt was actually up 17-7 in the fourth quarter, and this is where it gets interesting. Aurora came back on a pass from Drew Nuss, the quarterback, who found Preston Rawmakers wide open in the middle of the field to take the lead 21-17. This is a very fun storyline, so make sure you pay attention to this here. Raymakers usually makes his name known on the hardwood, on the basketball floor. He's a senior, and this is his first year playing football. He scored the go-ahead touchdown to help Aurora take the lead 21-17 in the Class B semifinal, and that is how it would finish. Aurora comes back from being down 10 in the fourth quarter and scores and finds a guy that is playing his first year of competitive football for Aurora. Preston Rawmakers helps Aurora take the lead 21-17 on a big route, big drag route down the middle of the field, and Drew Nuss, the quarterback, found him, and that is how it would finish 21-17. So Omaha Skutt and Aurora finishes with Aurora taking this one at home, and they will face Bennington. So it'll be a 1v2 seed matchup in the state championship, Class B state championship, Monday, November 22nd at 7:15 at Memorial Stadium. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we will talk to Luke Mullen of Prep Extra at the Lincoln Journal-Star. He'll give us a rundown on everything that happened last night. We'll ask him about the games that we just touched on a little bit from Class A and B action. We'll also touch on some Class C, C2, D6 possibly with Potter Dix, and we'll see how he what's happening on Luke's mind and everything there. And then on the final segment, we'll touch on some of the smaller classes that we did not get to here in the first segment. Don't go anywhere. Luke Mullen of Prep Extra is up next on the High School Saturday Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, I saw on television you have more than 500 new Hondas in stock or on the way. Now, I'm sure the listeners would like to hear more about that.
Well, Charlie, it's true. We have truckloads of new Hondas arriving just about every day. What's different is you won't see them on the lot very long because most all of them are pre-sold. And that's what we're encouraging all of our customers to do is get in here, get their order in as soon as possible.
Well, tell me, Andy, will they have to wait long?
Not really. It could be a few days or maybe even a few weeks, but not long at all. So I really invite everyone to come on out and experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Thank you, Andy. Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln.
This is Jay Foreman. I wore gear to protect my health on the football field, and now I'm protecting it with the COVID vaccine. Everyone, even kids 5 years and older, can get the vaccine too. If you've been vaccinated, now you can get your booster shot if you qualify. Stay strong, get vaccinated, and learn more at healthylincoln.org.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
When everything is changing, you need a store that's a constant. A store that has the brands your family loves and the value that you need. A store where you can stock up, pick up, and drive up. A store that's close to home and feels like home. A store that puts the health and safety of you and your family above all else. And a store that's always here to help. At Kohl's, we don't know what next year will look like. We just know that we'll be here for you no matter what. Kohl's, here today, here to stay. See store or Kohls.com for details.
I'm Steve Carper, and I'm here to tell you that there's never been a better time to buy flooring. Whether you need carpet, wood flooring, ceramic tile, vinyl, area rugs, or custom blinds, you got to come to O Street Carpet. With our 12-month interest-free financing, you can do one room or your whole house and leave your holiday budget intact. And with our huge in-stock selection, you can buy today and we'll install it right away. 1732 O Street. We want to make you a customer for life.
Lay the groundwork for more harvesting capacity when you order new John Deere combines and headers during Landmark Implement's early order program. Whether you're looking to improve your existing combine, corn head, or flex draper, or you've been wanting to update to a new model year, now is the time to upgrade. Get the very latest harvesting equipment and technology that fit your operations needs. Get your new John Deere harvest equipment built just the way you want. Contact your local Landmark Implement for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
Tractor Supply Distribution Center in Waverly is now hiring for maintenance techs. They have needs for the 10B shift, Tuesday through Friday from 5:30 p.m. to 3:30 a.m., the 12A shift, Saturday through Monday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and the 12B shift, Saturday through Monday from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Minimum 2 years experience in a fast-paced industrial environment is recommended to apply, and pay is based on experience. They're a 24/7 facility and a clean environment to work in. Come be a part of the Tractor Supply team. Apply today at www.tractorsupply.jobs.
Hi, Andy Neal of Cartridge. We are not a big box store that sells everything and specializes in nothing. Cartridge is your local expert when it comes to streamlining office printing and scanning. No big box can match our proven no-cost lease program. We customize solutions that supply you with multifunction printers and all the required service just for buying cartridge roll, ink, and toner at a 30% savings. Call for a no-cost consultation, 464-3455, or go online to cartridgeworld.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
You could celebrate a Nebraska football win with chips or wings and your favorite beverage, but Beatrice Bakery has all sorts of cakes to celebrate all victories this fall. Coffee cake, breakfast bread, artisan cakes, and especially Grandma's fruit cake. No one remembers who brought the chips, but everyone remembers who brought the cake. Make your parties memorable and your Mondays at the office better with cakes from Beatrice Bakery. They ship nationwide. Check out BeatriceBakery.com, proud sponsors of the Nebraska Shrine Bowl. Welcome to our world of yum.
The Ticket High School Saturday on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on the High School Saturday Show, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert with you on a cold Saturday. Cold weather's right around the corner. I need to make a correction to something I said in the first segment there. I mentioned that Omaha West Side outscored Bellevue West 24-6. Now, I will say math has never been my strongest suit. Might be why I'm going down the career path that I am, but math, if you add up, it was 20-10 at halftime, like I said, and if you add up like I was saying, 24-6 outscoring, that would make the final score 34-26. However, the final score was 41-26. So it actually means that Omaha West Side outscored Bellevue West 31-6 in the second half, which does not make it any better for Bellevue West fans. So I apologize on that. All right, let's go ahead and move on. 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline, Starter Heyman text line. Both of those are open for you for the rest of the show here, and then we'll have The Truth with Kobe Webster and CJ Wilcher coming up on at 10 immediately following my show here today. All right, let's go ahead and go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline where Luke Mullen of Prep Extra joins us once again. Luke, what's up, my man? How are you doing? Are you warm now?
Yeah, it took me a couple hours to de-thaw after that one, but I'm doing all right. I'm staying warm.
How bad did it, or how quick did it get just horrible? I mean, was it the moment that you got out there you started feeling it right away?
It took about 10, 15 minutes, I'd say. It's like you walk around a little bit, you got a little bit of blood flowing, and then you just stand there, the wind's howling, and you start dreaming about a cozy, warm bed at the end of the night.
Would fans have seen you doing like jumping jacks or anything on the sideline, or are you just a guy that tries to muscle through it?
Definitely, I think my running form, getting from one sideline to the other, my feet were frozen, is a little affected, so a little bit of a giraffe run going on. Hopefully nobody's taking any video.
That's awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get to a couple of the games from around the state last night. We'll kind of touch on all the classes here. Let's start with the one that you were at, Bellevue West and Omaha West Side. I mentioned there in the first segment, it was a little bit of a tale of two halves. Bellevue West kind of took the lead right out of the gate, and then Omaha West Side came storming back in the second half. Explain how that game kind of unfolded last night.
Yeah, it really was a case, I think, of Bellevue West game plan in the first half just worked exceedingly well. They were clearly going to pound the rock with LJ Richardson, like we talked about. And, first half, Richardson ended up with more carries than Westside had offensive plays.
Jeez.
So, those first two touchdown drives that he had for Bell West, those are both 6-minute drives. They went wildcat when they were inside the 10-yard line, just snapping it directly to Richardson pretty much every time they were there as well. And so for Westside, they really moved the ball pretty well in the first half as well, but got stopped on a key fourth down. Bellevue West got the ball first, so that kind of played in a little bit to that halftime deficit. But second half, they just completely turned it around, dominated. I was super impressed with the way quarterback Anthony Rizak played. He made all the great throws, didn't make any big mistakes in a moment like that. And really, it was a case of controlling the line of scrimmage as well. Everything that Richardson did in the first half was suddenly bottled up in the second half. The West Side defensive line just totally stepped up, pushed that line of scrimmage back, and that was just key. Once they started getting a few stops, those talented offensive players got rolling, and they put up the points, all 31 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, make sure the math gets right there. Speaking of LJ Richardson, are you surprised that he's not going somewhere bigger? Or do you feel like Wyoming is a pretty good spot for him?
I do think Wyoming is a good spot for him. It's a little bit hard to say, where he might have looked, depending on scholarship versus walk-on, obviously a big distinction there. But, to me, he's definitely got to be, one of the best running backs, top two, whatever you want to quantify it. just his inability to go down, his skills in the open field. He's just a fun player to watch. And yeah, I love that Wyoming program. They got a great thing going there. But definitely I do think he could fit in at a Power 5 school, just a question of playing time too. I'm sure hopefully at Wyoming he'll hit the field there pretty early.
Yeah. Okay. I want to touch on a team that's not even playing anymore. Christian Nash at Millard South. Which running back would you rather have on Luke Mullen's team?
On the fantasy high school team,
Yes.
That's a fun one. I'd probably go with Richardson. Total respect to Nash.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's great at popping those big plays as well. But just the consistency of Richardson, he can. I'm sure he carried the ball about 40 times last night. So you get a guy like that, you always want him on your team.
All right, let's move to the other Class A game really quick. Gretna and Omaha North. Omaha North's Cinderella run kind of comes to an end there in a big loss, 34-0. How balanced is Gretna? We talked about it yesterday when you came on the happy hour, but how balanced is Gretna, just showing that they're able to go out, score a 50 burger on Lincoln East, and then come back, score 14 against Elkhorn South, and here they are against Omaha North scoring 34. How balanced is Gretna going into the state championship game?
Yeah, really those last two defensive efforts have been super impressive to me, and a little bit of a surprise too. I mean, they have talented players all over the field on defense, but they weren't always able to get those key third down stops, or they were more so relying, I think, on turnovers throughout the year. So when you consistently get those stops, I don't know if they've made any scheme adjustments, if they've moved players around a little bit. But that is just a testament to their coaching staff, those players, for, stepping up in these big playoff moments. And when you combine that with their offense, I mean, obviously the conditions were going to limit Flores. I think he threw it pretty efficiently, obviously not popping any 50-yard big touchdown plays like that. But, he throws it pretty efficiently in those short passes. You mentioned the running back, Mick Huber, earlier. He's a fantastic player. And really that Gretna offense, when you look at a team like that, they got a great quarterback, great running back, at least, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers that you have to look at. And that type of balance is always hard for defenses to stop. One of their best players, Braden Cheney, in my opinion, he's a big defensive starter. He's got like 12 catches on the season, but 6 are touchdowns.
Holy cow.
It just goes to show how some of those playmakers, they just got to spread the ball around. They just don't have enough touches to go around.
Looking more closer at Zane Flores going into his senior season, what's one thing that he really needs to improve on? What's one thing? I mean, obviously he's one of the more talented quarterbacks in the state. He's being looked at some by some D1 schools. What is one thing that in your eyes that he needs to improve on going into next season?
Definitely one thing that I noticed stands out is when he's rolling to his left, flushed out of the pocket that way. Those are always going to be tough throws for a right-handed quarterback across your body. So, just that ability to kind of, get those throws out of the pocket as accurate as possible. I think he's pretty good at those in general. And also, maybe just those really tight windows outside the numbers. He has a great arm and everything, but, you have to have the accuracy combined with the strength. I've seen him, sail a couple of throws, obviously over the course of the season that all fades away. But, he made a huge jump from last year to this year, in my opinion, looking like 2 times the player he was last year already. So no doubt in my eyes, he'll be working all summer. Whatever happens in the title game, that'll motivate him. And he's in for a big senior year. All
right, let's move to Class B because it's going to feature a couple decent running backs there, similar to LJ Richardson and Christian Nash, even in Dylan Mostek of Bennington and then Colazo from Aurora. Who has the upper hand there between Bennington and Aurora? Because it's going to be a 1 versus 2 matchup there for the Class B title.
Yeah, to me, just the way that the Bennington offensive line has played all season has just been so impressive. The amount of seniors, the amount of juniors, they're all 6 foot or bigger. They've been in the weight room for months, and they're just absolute maulers. Krasinski, Jake Steyer, and a few others are all just so good at pushing that line of scrimmage forward. And that's what's allowed Mostek to have this record-breaking year. obviously a super talented running back. He'd have success anywhere, but playing behind those guys, it makes his life a lot easier, and it just allows Bennington to control the game. So, I think that Aurora, that's probably going to be the toughest line. They've had the ability to play all season, and they'll see them again. So that is just going to be such a fun matchup to watch. They have some tremendous linemen there at Aurora as well. And you look at both those teams, and it's a little bit of a flip. Bennington been undefeated all year. Really that Aurora game might have been their toughest test. They haven't really been clawing at games in the fourth quarter. Then you've got Aurora that lost the first two. They've had a lot of adversity this year. Lost the state title game last year as well. Had to come back against Scott. So you've got a team that might be a little bit more, experienced at dealing with the pressure of a state title environment versus, Bennington, the favorite that's rolled all year. So that game, 1 versus 2, you expect it to be good, and that one is going to be exciting for sure.
Which between Class A and Class B, which title game excites you more? Just, obviously we're almost a week and a half away, or a little over a week, I should say, away. But is it Bennington Aurora, or is it Gretna and Gretna and Omaha West Side? I mean, because nobody expected the Gretna West Side matchup to be the Class A title game. Which one of those excites you more?
I think the Class B matchup is a little bit more exciting, just because I think those two teams are a little bit closer. That's really, to me, going to be a little bit of a down to the end game. Bennington to win their first state title versus Aurora coming off the heartbreak of last year. That Class A game, I think Gretna is going to play it close. It's going to be a great game, but oftentimes, the Class A bracket just works out that one of the semifinals is a little bit more loaded, and it creates a little bit more lopsided state title game. So I do think Westside has probably got to be a 10, 14 point favorite, whatever you want to put on it. So yeah, I think that Class B matchup might end up a little bit closer there.
Let's head to C1 here. We've got final couple questions here before we let you go. C1, Pierce gets a 21-0 shutout victory over Battle Creek. It felt like, Battle Creek had opportunities to score the football, they just didn't. What makes Pierce so strong, not only on the defensive side, but obviously they have Brahmer on the offensive side? Talk about Pierce a little bit.
Definitely. I think probably if you talk to Pierce themselves, I don't think they'd be expecting to shut out Battle Creek.
Yeah.
Especially after losing 24-6 to them a couple of weeks ago. So just a huge improvement in terms of that playoff atmosphere. And so for Pierce, to me, it really all starts with their defensive ends. Those guys, they see a little bit of that Pierce option in practice every day, and they are just so skilled at keeping everything inside the numbers, not letting teams bounce outside, funneling it inside for those linebackers, and all these great rushing attacks. Battle Creek has one too. I think, they kind of fall by the wayside sometimes when you have those great D linemen just affecting, the way you want to run the ball. So that was really, to me, the big thing of that matchup. Obviously, they have the talent on offense, but to shut out a team like Battle Creek is just huge. Defending champs, they've just gotten rolling again and having another fantastic season, looking like they might be able to go all the way and repeat for sure.
Last one before we let you go, Luke Mullen of Prep Extra at the Lincoln Journal-Stars, who we're talking to right now. Archbishop Bergen, Koa McIntyre beats Ord last night 20-0. Are you surprised by that outcome? Or we talked about Koa McIntyre a little bit more, but just touch on Archbishop Bergen as a whole team here.
Yeah, to me, that is definitely, of any game, that scoreline is most representative of the conditions. I think, if that's a 50-degree, non-windy game, I think that ends up more, 42-20 or something like along those lines. So for Koa, I assume, the game plan was pretty much limiting mistakes, not trying to check the ball downfield, as is one of his great strengths. A little bit more ground and pound and, run down the clock, see if you can beat Ord into submission a little bit. And they definitely did that. So to me, that offense can easily put up 40 plus points a year. They've done it quite a few times, but having that versatility, being able to execute a different style, credit to them. Coach Murray's 20-0 win against, the defending champs. They've been looking forward to that all year. So I'm sure they're celebrating it in Fremont today.
Awesome. Luke, appreciate the time as always, man. I'm glad you are warm now. Hopefully, I guess maybe next week in the state championship games the following week, they're not going to be much better. So I guess keep those jackets close where you can grab them real quick.
Will do. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Nick. As always, appreciate it.
Yep. We'll talk to you soon. That is Luke Mullen of the Lincoln Journal-Star joining us every Saturday just to kind of break down everything, especially the smaller classes, as he does so well. All right. Before we get to break, just a reminder, High School Saturday Show brought to you by Ambition Electric, providing quality and reliable electrical work for nearly 20 years. Contact Joe Davis for any of your electrical needs at 402-217-3415. All right, let's take our final time out here. We'll have a couple minutes left on the other side. We will wrap up Saturday's show next on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Lay the groundwork for more harvesting capacity when you order new John Deere combines and headers during Landmark Implement's early order program. Whether you're looking to improve your existing combine, corn head, or flex draper, or you've been wanting to update to a new model year, now is the time to upgrade. Get the very latest harvesting equipment and technology that fit your operations needs. Get your new John Deere harvest equipment built just the way you want. Contact your local Landmark Implement for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
This is what Rob Aller says. Ryan Day is clearly comfortable enough in his own unshaven skin not to care what others think. Whether that means saying goodbye to facial grooming or going for it on 4th and 3, when the prudent play might be to kick a field goal.
Do you hear yourself talking right now? This is ridiculous.
I read it on Sunday and did not think it was ridiculous.
Are you crazy?
I did not think it was
that's
ridiculous.
so dumb.
I didn't think it was ridiculous.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
What are you doing, Sip?
I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives.
So you're building what exactly?
It's a motion-censored switchboard. Duh.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Of course.
Ow! God! Ow! Seems like a job for a professional.
Just one more wire. Yep, there you go, right there.
Don't be like Sip. Call Joe at Ambition Electric for any of your electric needs at 402-217-3415.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, I saw on television you have more than 500 new Hondas in stock or on the way. Now, I'm sure the listeners would like to hear more about that.
Well, Charlie, it's true. We have truckloads of new Hondas arriving just about every day. What's different is you won't see them on the lot very long because most all of them are pre-sold. And that's what we're encouraging all of our customers to do is get in here, get their order in as soon as possible.
Well, tell me, Andy, will they have to wait long?
Not really. It could be a few days or maybe even a few weeks, but not long at all. So I really invite everyone to come on out and experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Thank you, Andy. Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln.
Welcome back, Husker fans. Eustace Body Shop is happy to welcome the best fans in college football back to Lincoln. With Gold Class certified service, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop can call the right plays to keep you in the game. Whether it's in Lincoln at 88th and Highway 2 or at any of our other 5 locations across Nebraska, Eustace Body Shop can help get you back on the road. Go Big Red.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Venue at Home is your answer for locally made, freshly prepared meals delivered to your door every week. Our meals come ready to heat and eat. With sizes for 2 people or 4, Venue at Home is perfect for busy people who want a quick, easy, and delicious meal option to share with your roommates or feed the whole family. Add on from our wide selection of appetizers, sides, desserts, alcohol, and more. Receive a discount on your meals by subscribing to get Venue at Home delivered every week. Visit venueathome.net to order today. That's venueathome.net.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to Great Clips.
Great Clips asks, what's the difference between good and great?
Come on back and have a seat.
Good asks you what haircut you'd like.
I have all your details from last time. Would you like the same haircut today?
Great already knows. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details so you can get the same thing as last time, every time. Download our online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
A new Planet Fitness location is coming soon. To celebrate, you can join before we open for just $1 down, $10 a month. We're squeaky clean and ready to welcome you with tons of equipment and plenty of space to spread out. So join the judgment-free zone today. We're ready when you are. Just $1 down, $10 a month. Offer ends soon. Join us today.
Planet Fitness Lincoln opening a 3rd location soon, just east of 84th and Layton. Join now.
Planet Fitness locations are independently owned and operated. See club for details.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
When everything is changing, you need a store that's a constant. A store that has the brands your family loves and the value that you need. A store where you can stock up, pick up, and drive up. A store that's close to home and feels like home. A store that puts the health and safety of you and your family above all else. And a store that's always here to help. At Kohl's, we don't know what next year will look like. We just know that we'll be here for you no matter what. Kohl's, here today, here to stay. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
The Ticket, High School Saturday on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on the High School Saturday Show, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert with you for the last couple minutes. But don't go anywhere. Here at 10 o'clock from 10 to 11, we will have The Truth with Kobe Webster and CJ Wilcher, giving you all their thoughts. Send in your thoughts on the text line 402-464-5685. That'll be open all show long until 11 a.m., as well as on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. We'll have that going as well. They'll bring in their exciting thoughts and opinions to these airwaves. This show is brought to you by Ambition Electric, providing quality and reliable electrical work for nearly 20 years. Contact Joe Davis for any of your electrical needs at 402-217-3415. All right, let's get to a couple of the smaller games that we didn't get to touch on with Luke. We kind of talked about Battle Creek and Pierce there momentarily. The first score in this one would come with 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Pierce strikes first on a touchdown run from Michael Krunterod. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. He would score again then to extend the Pierce lead. I kind of mentioned to Luke, Battle Creek just could not get anything going on offense. They recovered a big fumble, but once again, nothing came out of it. At half, it was 14-0 Pierce. Nick Harvey had a huge second half for Pierce. He recorded 3 sacks in the second half alone for Pierce, and they would go on to win this one 21-0. In the other C1 game, it was Columbus Lakeview and Kearney Catholic. Columbus Lakeview wins over number 2 seed Kearney Catholic 31-21. Very surprising, as Columbus Lakeview is an 11 seed. However, they're 7-2 on the year, but they are an 11 seed going up against number 2 seed undefeated Kearney Catholic, who went into that one 11-0. Gives Kearney Catholic their first loss, and Columbus Lakeview will face Pierce in the Class C1 title game. In Class C2, Norfolk Catholic played Wilbur Claytonia last night. Norfolk Catholic, the number 1 seed in C2, wins 35-12 at home. On the other side, we kind of touched on it with Luke there a couple minutes ago. Archbishop Bergen with a 20-0 shutout win over Ord. Ord was the 3 seed, Archbishop Bergen the 2 seed. So the Class C2 title game will feature Norfolk Catholic and Archbishop Bergen on November 23rd at 2:45 p.m. All right, we have about a minute left here. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about some D6 action. So 6-man football. And these are exciting here. Potter Dix beat Spalding Academy on Friday at 2 p.m. So this one was already over before last night's games began. Potter Dix with a thrilling 39-38 win over Spalding Academy. And then in the other half of the bracket, Wallace and Cody Kilgore. Cody Kilgore, the fewest points that they've scored in the postseason, 51. And that came in the semifinal or quarterfinal against Wallace when they scored 51-6. Cody Kilgore advances with a 72-28 win in 6-man football over Wallace. It's going to be Cody Kilgore and Potter Dix in the final in D6 from UNK's football stadium. All right, that's all for us today. Stick around. The Truth, Kobe Webster, CJ Wilcher are next. We'll talk to you next Saturday. See ya.